Into the female lead world. As Dujeki, I was framed, ruining junior sister Jujinki's reputation. I lost half my power as apology and paid to fix my foundation, while other heroes face moral blackmail for a moment. Dreaming of the great world. Love affairs in the three realms discussed. Yellow sail. No praise. What should I do if I meet a powerful expert and can't win? When I first arrived, I thought just being strong enough to fight was sufficient. I could have just told them straight up, don't come here and try to instruct me on what to do.
1 second, he reincarnates as the heir of an immortal king, a Tribulation realm powerhouse capable of shaking heaven and earth. The next second, he is accused of spying on and drugging a junior sister. And the ones judging him, ants. Absolute ants. Moments ago, he crossed worlds and awakened with an unfathomable background and overwhelming power. Yet now, he stands in the center of a sect's grand hall, surrounded by low-level cultivators pointing at him like he is already guilty. The reason is absurd. He has transmigrated into a female-oriented fantasy novel, and his current identity is the story's most pathetic villain, a top-tier simp willing to destroy himself to please the female lead. A public trial is underway. A tearful junior sister kneels on the ground, accusing him of breaking into her room at night, spying on her, drugging her, and committing shameful acts. The crowd burns with righteous fury. At that moment, a cold voice echoes in his mind. The system has activated. At first, he thinks this is an invincible start, but the truth makes him laugh. According to the original plot, to prove his innocence, he must cripple half his cultivation as compensation. Even then, his soul will be searched, his spirit destroyed, and he will die miserably. Only then does he realize it. This entire scene is a farce. He checks the strength of everyone present. The sect master daring to shout at him, nascent soul realm. The so-called victim, foundation establishment realm. A Tribulation realm powerhouse being judged by them. An immortal king's heir needing to drug a foundation-level disciple? That is like using a nuclear weapon to kill a mosquito. He calmly exposes the fatal flaw in their accusation. If he truly wanted her, why would such crude methods be necessary? But blinded by the chosen female lead, Halo, they cannot accept reality. Seeing him laugh instead of kneel, their anger erupts. They threaten him, certain he would never dare oppose the entire sect. The man finally stops hiding his smile. So now the choice is clear. Will he cripple himself and live as a pathetic simp? Or will he let this small world understand one thing? When mortals judge gods, someone is about to be erased. Pay close attention. Inside the sect's grand hall, a Tribulation realm powerhouse is being publicly framed by a despicable villain. They don't just want him to cripple his foundation, they demand he hand over half his cultivation to compensate a junior sister. All of this is the result of a carefully planned setup. The story begins with Gutiani trapped in a desperate situation. He is accused of attempting to defile the junior sister Qingci with so-called irrefutable evidence. The loudest voice in the hall belongs to a certain senior brother. Spittle flying from his mouth, he passionately lists Gutiani's crimes before the sect master and elders, insisting that Gutiani must cripple himself and surrender half his power as compensation. But no one present knows the truth, that righteous senior brother is the real culprit, the one who drugged Qingci the night before. Framing Gutiani is the only way to erase his own sin. At this critical moment, a mysterious divine consciousness quietly awakens. She immediately senses that Gutiani has been wronged. Unable to reveal herself, she secretly contacts Chufeng, the holy son of the Heavenly Tao Alliance, hoping he might intervene for Qingci's sake. But everyone has underestimated Gutiani's temperament. Just as the villain continues shouting and the sect master prepares to pass judgment, Gutiani smiles. Having survived countless life and death battles across 5 hell realms, he has learned only one truth kill. Faced with the slander and judgment of mere ants, he can no longer be bothered to explain. In the next second, before anyone can react, a flash of blood erupts. The senior brother who was shouting moments ago is beheaded on the spot. His father, a lofty elder, doesn't even have time to scream before Gutiani erases him as well. Ding! Plot deviation detected, target eliminated, Yongxiao and his son, reward obtained, supreme artifact 10,000 souls banner. The system's
Follow and
voice
don't
echoes
miss.
in
Click
Gutiani's
below
mind.
for more.
Weapon in hand, he coldly scans the terrified faces in the hall. Golden core, Nascent soul, such trash dares to call a Tribulation realm powerhouse by name. Dares to slander him, dares to judge him. If they are killed, what problem is there? Without another word, Gutiani summons the newly acquired Supreme Artifact. The 10,000 Souls banner unfurls, and an overwhelming killing intent instantly crushes the entire hall. Faced with this god of slaughter, what kind of doom awaits these self-righteous fools?
Pay attention. This woman stands righteously before the man and declares, "What you lost was only your purity, but they lost their lives." Her accusation comes just moments after the man personally executed several enemies who tried to drug and violate him. And all of this began with a despicable conspiracy. The man who now looks like a god or demon incarnate is named Gutiani. He is noble by birth, peerless in talent, and feared by countless cultivators. But not long ago, his senior sister, blinded by obsession with his looks and status, colluded with outsiders and secretly drugged his wine, attempting to ruin his purity and claim him for herself. When the plot was exposed, the two conspirators collapsed to their knees, crying and begging for mercy. They claimed it was a moment of weakness, pleading for Gutiani to spare them for the sake of their shared sect. But Gutiani had already seen through their hypocrisy. They weren't repentant. They were simply afraid of dying. Without a trace of emotion, he summoned a banner overflowing with terrifying black aura. The 10,000 Souls banner. In an instant, agonized screams filled the air. The souls of the guilty were forcibly torn from their bodies, reduced to wisps of smoke trapped within the banner. That scene completely stunned Qingci, Gutiani's junior sister. This knave, saint-like heroine rushed forward without hesitation, accusing Gutiani of indiscriminate slaughter, condemning him as no different from a demon. In her eyes, drugging someone was something that could be talked through. It was never worthy of death. Gutiani laughed in anger and questioned her coldly. "So my purity is worthless then? Only yours matters?" But the truly outrageous moment came next. Qingci shouted the words that shattered all logic. "But you only lost your purity, they lost their lives." With that sentence, she completely branded Gutiani as a ruthless demon, who cultivates evil artifacts and kills without blinking. Gutiani's heart turned cold. He corrected her calmly. "This is not a 10,000 Souls banner. It is a human Emperor banner, supreme, righteous, and absolute." But explaining further was meaningless. Talking to someone like her was like playing music to a cow. Since Qingci insisted on standing up for his enemies, then he would deal with this ungrateful junior sister as well. Just as Gutiani's killing intent erupted and he prepared to strike, a sudden change occurred. An overwhelming aura burst out from Qingci's body, and an ancient, majestic voice echoed through the air. It turned out that within Qingci resided the remnant soul of an ancient powerhouse, her true master. The moment this master awakened and sensed Gutiani's unfathomable cultivation, he immediately seized control of Qingci's body, deciding to personally confront this so-called cruel little demon. A true battle between two supreme beings was about to begin.
Follow and don't miss. Click below for more.